welcome to my channel. So for today, I would like to talk about my experience living in Tokyo. So let's start. I have lived in Tokyo for most of my life. I have lived in the Philippines for I think 8 years, almost 10 years. I've been around other countries, so I have some experience outside of Tokyo. So my experience also based on that, but also me as a foreigner living here in Japan. So if you're applying to live in Tokyo or if you're curious, maybe this will help you. So to start, I would like to start from negative side and go towards the positive. For negative side, on the top of my mind, expensive real estate. Tokyo is still one of the most expensive country to live in. I believe this is because of their expensive real estate. To live in Tokyo, if you want a huge space, backyard. If you want space in Tokyo, it is really expensive. The apartment that I live in here, that where I'm filming, it is pretty spacious compared to other places that has the same rent. But then I still want a walk-in closet, a backyard where I can plant things, a separate room where I just can work, all those things. But if I want that, I need to pay a lot more. And just to give you a comparison, $1,000 apartment will only give you a studio apartment, and even that will be outskirts of Tokyo. So if you live in the middle of Tokyo where all the fun things are, it will be really expensive. So yeah, that's one negative thing about living in Tokyo, especially if you're in budget. So if you have a lot of money, that may not be a problem for you. Alright, then second negative things. I only have 3 negative things here, but the second thing that I really don't like about Tokyo is the language barrier. And I think it's everywhere, but more so in Tokyo or in Japan. So this may apply to other countries who does not speak English. Tokyo is a lot more friendlier to foreigners now. You can see an English sign if you drive or walk around, or if you're in a station, even if you go to a bank or government office, they have an English form. So they're a lot friendlier to foreigner compared to when I was growing up. But then if you want to communicate, if you want to say something, if you need to explain yourself, you will still find a hard time because a lot of people who works for the government office, banks, cannot speak English. The good thing about it is they may have interpreter, but then you may still struggle. So just to give you an example, just the other day, I went with my dad to the government office to help him out to run some errand. He has an issue about the payment for the insurance here, and when we went there, it's just resolved in 10 minutes. I'm always amazed how Japan government office is so fast. It was just resolved in 10 minutes, but if my dad went alone, he cannot really speak Japanese. They may have had hard time accommodating him because he cannot speak Japanese. Or even with the bank, if you need to explain something, if you have some issue, if the bank teller cannot speak English or they need to call the interpreter, you may have hard time because sometimes interpreter is not always available. For day-to-day basis, it gotten a lot easier. Alright, so the third thing, the last thing, people are a little bit colder compared to the countryside and more so for the city area. I live in Tokyo, I grew up in Tokyo, so I may also be cold, and I get that because people are busy. There's a lot more people here in Tokyo. It's crowded. We need to tend to our own things, especially during the morning when we go to the office, and when we come home, we just want to get home. So you don't see small talk of stranger here and there. Eye contact, you don't see eye contact here. If you need to ask someone, people are nice. People are quite nice if you need to ask something. But then to be friendly with each other, I think it's just a cultural thing as well. My experience going to the countryside, especially, I have experience talking to elderly people, the people outside. They're a lot more friendly. They ask me where I come from, how it is for me to visit their place. They even smile at you. So I think it's just how it is in Tokyo. It is a concrete jungles. Our heart maybe also be concrete. So people here in Tokyo, if you need help, you need to ask for it. So those are the things I really don't like living in Tokyo. There may be a lot more, but those are the major things. Alright, so I'm ready to talk about the positive thing in Tokyo and the things I love living here in Tokyo. And number 1 is the public transport. They have the best public transportation here in Tokyo. You don't need to own a car at all. You can go anywhere With it, you can even go outskirts of Tokyo or outside Tokyo. If you want to go around outside of Tokyo, it may be convenient for you to have your own car or rent a car, but in Tokyo you don't really need that. You just need to walk a lot. So go back to public transportation. The public transportation here in Japan is clean, safe, almost always on time. It's convenient. Even if I go home at midnight, even if I use the public transport at midnight, I don't get scared. If you live in Tokyo, a lot of places, train station are walking distance. It sounds amazing, but then there's also a downside to it is if you use the train or public transportation during the rush hour, you are guaranteed that you have no personal space. Before COVID, I needed to go to the office. I was working for a different company back then, so the place where my company was gets so crowded, and there are times that I really don't have personal space, that I can't move, that I just need to hug my buddy. And even going home, so the rush hour is the worst. If you have watched a video of band train during rush hours, that's all true, where like train staff need to push the people so that they will fit inside. Even with the bus, it gets so crowded and it gets so slower. And also the other thing is it's a little bit complicated. So if I need to go to a new place and I need to search how to go, I always get lost. Especially during the transit, it's pretty complicated, so you need to transfer the train station, you need to transfer places. So like the train station in Japan is a bit big, it's really complicated, and so you get lost, but they're kind enough to have many signs. If you are going to new places, you gotta have that time. You need to have an extra time if you're like me who always get lost. So like you still have time to figure out where you are. It's a little bit complicated, but I still love it. It's like an adventure to me. And the next, the cost of living is more affordable. Of course, this is given that you are earning Tokyo standard of salary. Even if you get minimum wage, of course, you need to be on a budget. You need to watch out what you will need to spend, but you can still afford the necessities as long as you know where to live and you know where to buy. If you don't eat out a lot, you know, if you try to save money, unlike other countries, compared to my country in the Philippines, even if you work hard, sometimes it's not enough that you cannot afford necessity, and that's a sad thing. But in Japan, as long as you have work, you work hard, you may not have an extravagant life, but you can still afford the necessity. So when it comes to that, I believe Japan is affordable, or the cost of living is a lot more affordable. Yeah, you just need to save money, you need to live frugally. So there's a lot of supermarket that sell cheap stuff, affordable vegetables, so you just need to budget your money here, and Japanese love to budget their money. Japanese know how to use their money. So yeah, the cost of living is affordable if you live in Japan, and if you earn the Japanese salary or above minimum wage here in Japan. This is my favorite part about Japan, other than public transport, is the high quality. Japanese quality is real. So you need to be smart about this. Most likely the more expensive it is more durable, it is more good quality. And even the things you buy from Daiso, 100 yen, a dollar shop, it's still durable and high quality. So it's not just the product, but the Japanese service. If you go to a restaurant, they have the top-notch service. They have this word called omotenashi. So omotenashi means giving service without expecting nothing in return. So they give best service to you. In Japan, you don't need to tip people, and there's times that I go to a restaurant and I'm not even paying a lot of money, just like a normal day out, a normal eat out, and they give a top-notch service. Like if you need something, they're just right there. I'm pretty clumsy. The sauce fell all over the table, and the waiter just came right away out of nowhere, and she just came right away and started cleaning. So those kind of service, like sometimes I even want to give them tip just because their service is so great. Japan quality service, Japan quality product is really good. The last thing I want to mention in this video is about Japan's safety. Japan's safety has been compromised too. There are bad news here and there. It is still one of the safest country. The police are vigilant. There are camera everywhere, and yeah, there's some crazy story here and there, sad stories here and there, but I still feel safe here. I guess I need to be more vigilant. We need to be more vigilant. But the school kid can go to school alone, ride on a train alone. They're like wearing this, like they call it randoseru or a backpack. So they have like designated backpack and they wear that and go around. And even when I was a kid, I went to elementary school here in Japan, and I went alone to school, and after school sometimes I have my after school, like they call it juku, or after school activity where I need to study more. Anyway, so after that, like sometimes I get home at 5 or 6. Sometimes it's already dark, especially during winter time, and I still get home alone and I'm safe. Like my parents didn't need to worry about where I was. I didn't even have my cell phone, so it may have been compromised. It's so safe here in Japan that sometimes you just forget to be more cautious, and sometimes bad things happen. So you still need to be cautious, but Japan is still one of the safest country, and I believe so. Alright, so there's a lot more things I could talk about. I could go more and more about living in Japan. Those are the top things that I would like to mention in this video today. If you have any question, please comment it down below. I hope if you're thinking about living here in Japan, or curious about living in Japan, or if you already lived here, I hope this video help you on some perspective about living in Tokyo. I kept saying Japan, but Tokyo. And if you have any question, you want me to do any content, please comment it down below. I'll try to do that. Please like and subscribe. It will help me a lot, especially my motivation to make more videos, to think more of the content. So I hope you enjoyed the video today, and until next time, bye.